There we go. Okay. Well, let me know how if the music's too loud or not. I'm just going by the VU meter. Because now the music's coming from a different source than it was last time. Recording would be smart, yeah. We're doing a little unscripted review of Zelda 1. And we will go through the Zelda series, like, bit by bit. Because, in contrast with Final Fantasy, I've played almost all Zelda games. So we will go through all of those that I've played. The ones that we won't be talking about will be the multiplayer Zeldas, Four Swords Adventures, TriStar Heroes. Haven't played any of those. I never had enough friends to play them with. God damn it. And I actually still have not finished Tears of the Kingdom. But maybe once we get... I mean, that's quite a few weeks in the future, right? So maybe I will have it finished by then. I'm not holding out for that, but hey, we'll see. And I have yet to play Echoes of Wisdom. I have it here, and I will play it relatively soonish, I think. But yeah. For now, the Zelda games I've played are all the way from Zelda 1 up to Breath of the Wild, excluding the multiplayer Zeldas. Zelda 1 is one of those games where you can't really overstate the historical significance this game has. This is one of the games that truly just built a genre and invented a genre from scratch. It's something that you still see like echoes of it. Echoes of Wisdom. Flowing through like the video game sphere today. You can trace a lot of it back, for certain games obviously, back to this game, to 1986, when it came out for the Famicom Disk System, which was an add-on for the Japanese Famicom, which is what the NES was called in Japan, where you didn't have cartridges, but you had little discs. That never made it to the West. So when Nintendo was realizing that they wouldn't bring the disk system over, they ported a few of the games to regular cartridges. One of them being Zelda 1. And there had to be like some adjustments made, but not a lot. One of the biggest ones is that the disk system had one audio channel more. So the audio is slightly different. I've played this game first, I don't even know when. I must have been like 15 or something. I was definitely still older. I've already played a lot of Zelda games before, until I got my hands on this one. And I can actually show, for the Zelda games, also, as opposed to the Final Fantasy games, for a lot of them, not for all of them, I actually have a physical cartridge that I can show. This is the cartridge that I played the game on for the first time. The NES was one of the first things I've ever bought on eBay with my own money, so I must have been like 15 or 16, which means I would have played like 6 or 7 Zelda games before I ever touched this one. But I was always interested in going back and seeing where the series, or series in general, started. As you can see, the cartridge is not in, like, perfect condition. It has, I mean, it's, like almost 40 years old, right? So it does have a bit of abuse. There's, like, something scribbled here, you can't really see it. I barely can read it. But I guess this cartridge originally belonged to a girl named Sabina. Sabine? I can't even read it. But yeah, I bought an NES. I bought this game and a few other games off eBay. And I played Zelda 1 for the first time. And I loved it. I legitimately loved it. I played it without a guide, without a map. And it was a great experience. I remember just sitting in front of my, like, small... I'm Sabine now. My small CRT TV in my bedroom. Playing this game. Fighting the NES, because the NES is an absolute piece of garbage when it comes to using it. Like, the Famicom's great because it's a top loader, but sliding the cartridge in and pressing down of the NES, the Western redesign, is just terrible. It just broke the connectors or bent the connectors so often you had to fight it and wiggle it, and oh my god, it was terrible. But yeah, I was willing to take all of that on me just to play this game. Zelda 1 looks very classic if you've played like 2D Zelda games, but it feels very, very different. Because, in my opinion, the game that really started the quote-unquote Zelda formula, which is a term that gets thrown around from time to time, especially when around the time that Breath of the Wild released. The game that really invented that was A Link to the Past. There are a lot of similarities at first glance between A Link to the Past and other 2D Zelda games and the first one. But when you play the first Zelda game for yourself, you quickly realize that that's not the case. Zelda 1 has actually way more in common with Breath of the Wild than any other Zelda game in the series, because it just throws you into a world. No direction, no nothing. Just, here you go. And you have to find everything yourself. A lot of things, including things that you need, are hidden. Which sounds like a nightmare today. Oh, you got the rainfall now too? Yeah, it was moving in your direction. A lot of things are hidden in Zelda 1. Sometimes you come on, you're on a screen where there are like 40 trees and you have to burn a specific one for a hidden entrance. You have the Lost Woods where there is no hint, to my knowledge, of how you have to navigate it. It's trial and error. But you really felt like you were on an adventure, and that's something that this freedom of exploration. In theory, you can tackle the dungeons in a different, they are numbered. Once you enter a dungeon, you see level 1, level 2, level 3 in the top left-hand corner. But you can tackle them in a completely different order. Kinda, because you often need items from earlier levels, earlier dungeons to fully progress through one. But still, it felt and is way less linear than a lot of other Zelda games that came after it. There's also still an impressive amount of things to explore in the game, and to optional things to find. It sounds terrible. It's definitely very, very different, and does require a certain amount of resistance to frustration to get through. This game is also pretty difficult. Link controls a lot clunkier than he does in pretty much all other Zelda games. You're very much forced on the 4-direction grid, and your attack animation is a stab instead of a slash, so you have to be kind of precise. I love the flute theme. Oh my god, the second things are also in here. Yeah, that's the life lost. Okay, that's the dungeon theme. My resistance to frustration when it came to things like this at 15 years old was pretty high, because I was having fun exploring. And I already had this idea of fun, of going back and seeing the history of a game. Graphically, this game, it's an early NES game, and you can definitely tell that. The NES was capable of a lot of probably more things than people give it credit for. But especially the early games, they looked rough. Still, while the graphics themselves are kind of... they're fine, they suffice. Zelda 1 already gave us some designs that are iconic. Like Link himself, for example. You can see the green tunic and the, like, I don't even know what his hat is called. You can see that immediately. The Zora started here. Galeok, which came back like big time in Tears of the Kingdom. Dodongos were introduced here. Likes. A lot of designs started here and were carried through, and still, especially like the enemy sprites, they look fine. The dungeons get a bit confusing because they don't really, except for the color of the walls and the floor, they don't really just, you can't really easily distinguish between them because the rooms just look kind of samey. That would only be remedied in A Link to the Past. Like even Zelda 2, I have a hard time distinguishing between the dungeons because they just have a different color and otherwise they look pretty much the same. The music in this game, while there are like very, very few tracks, I like rough looking games. That's not true. I know that you say that, but it's not true. While there aren't a lot of tracks in this soundtrack, they're all really great. I need to drink something. I don't know. I think I have something in my throat. I'm in denial. The dungeon theme is amazing. The overworld theme, of course, is classic. And obviously, this is the start of one of the greatest and most famous songs in video game history. The main Zelda theme. Which is just an instant classic. And it's so fascinating to me that we only got it because Koji Kondo realized very, very shortly before he was supposed to be finished with the entire soundtrack that he couldn't get the song he actually wanted. He wanted to use Bolero by Ravel. Because he only realized like a week or so before he had to be done that song was not in public domain yet because Ravel had not been dead for long enough. Which is... And then he told in an interview he pulled an all-nighter and just came up with one of the greatest video game themes of all time. That we still listen to today in updated versions. Which is great. It's so great. I already talked a bit about gameplay. You already have a few things that become like mainstays in the series. You already have bombs, you already have a bow, you already have a powered up sword that can shoot energy, but it's not the Master Sword. We would have to wait until A Link to the Past for that one. You have the Triforce. I mean, it's not gameplay, but you already have a boomerang. A lot of things that are just like the classic items already started in the first one. And they break up the monotony. A lot of the games... Oh man, I'm sorry. A lot of the items are also usable in exploration, like mainly the bombs. But also the candle, which is one of the more annoying items because the original blue candle you can only use once per screen. And as I said, sometimes you have to burn like trees to find hidden entrances, but all of the trees look the same. So until you get the red candle, which you can use an unlimited time per screen, the blue candle, and you get the red candle relatively late, I think. You have to like burn a tree with a blue candle, leave, come back, burn another tree, leave, come back. Do that as long as you find, so long until you find something, which is annoying. I get that. And yeah, it is correct. One thing that's really cool about Zelda 1, which I think is very weird, like looking back on it, that they had this in the first game. There's an entire second quest. They realized that they had still space on the disc, on the original disc, when they made it for the disc system. When they were done with the game, because they miscalculated the space, I guess. So they thought, hey, why not put in a second quest that you can start at the very beginning if you use Zelda as your like file name, where all of the dungeons have a different, more difficult layout, and they are in different spots, which is kind of fun. I've never actually finished second quest. I should probably do that at some point, but I think that's a cool option, especially for the first game in the series. It's fun to see that even like some of the story beats are already in there. We already have Ganon, even though he's misspelled in the intro. Or spelled differently, I should say. We already have at least like one Triforce. We have the Triforce of Wisdom, which is what we have to collect to get to Ganon. And it's not actually the like Triforce with a 3. The three Triforce pieces, that's hard to say. It's not actually the logo of the series yet. That would also only happen in A Link to the Past. It was called Triforce because it was just one, like, triangular piece. And it would later become to mean, like, 3 different pieces. But we still have it here. We have Impa, even though she doesn't show up in the game, she shows up in the manual. And even though it's just a very basic Save the Princess story, it suffices, and we still have these 3 central characters decades later now. With Zelda, with Link, with Ganon. And we would constantly build upon them. Zelda is a game that's still worth playing today. It's very short, once you know what you're doing, especially. But even if you just have to find your way around, it's not that long, but for the time it was amazing. Also, fun fact. This is the first game, I think. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think this is the first game that you could save on. Because this is the first game that had a battery in it. This one's long dead, probably. I haven't checked. But it has like a button cell on the like circuit board. Fun fact, we're done with the soundtrack in like 18 minutes. That's how short the soundtrack is for this game. I have to start from the beginning. Oh, this theme is so good, even in 8-bit, even in the first iteration. But yeah, Zelda 1, I can only highly recommend people play this game, give it a shot, and see where one of the like longest lasting, most influential, and still running video game series of all time comes from. It's a great time, it's a great trip down memory lane. It's fun to see where a lot of things come from. It's not polished, but it's worth it, definitely. God, I love ending with a theme. That was good timing. Next time, we will talk about Zelda 2. Where I have something... I mean, we get to it when we get to it, but let's just say that maybe the Zelda 2 review won't be like as positive as this one.